Wait, they have multiple cops at these things all the time. Like, the only time I ever see a takedown like this successfully happen is when there's like 2 or 3 cops there at least. All right, let's do it. Steven Crowder says, sorry, ladies, women should not be cops. Now, I agree with this sentiment, but not because it's exclusive to women. I just don't think anybody should be cops. Don't be a cop. Cops are cringe. Cops are hogs. Regardless of whether you're a man, a woman, gay, straight, black, white, whatever, you are a fucking hog if you're a cop. Do I make myself clear? Excellent. Let's see why Steven Crowder thinks specifically women should not be cops.
I am not saying that a woman can't work on dispatch. I'm not saying that a woman can't be a pilot. I'm not saying a woman can't be a sniper. I'm saying that a woman can't do that. So there's a woman here. It's what should be a routine traffic stop. Goes awry. And this was last Wednesday on the 14th. It doesn't have that many plays, but this is something that is becoming all too common, and it's by design. So it's not just an isolated incident. I don't believe that women should be in positions of law enforcement, as you see here, and neither do they, as you will see from the clip. This happened, Ohio's Willoughby Police Department. Let's watch.
Hello. I'm Officer at Willoughby Police Department. The reason why I'm stopping you is the speed. 57 and a 35.
That's going pretty fast, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
And she shouldn't let him do this. He could be grabbing a gun right now and she's dead. It's just...
Wait, what? She shouldn't be letting him get out of his car? What? No. Dude, if you just think anybody could be grabbing a gun and shooting a police officer, like, a sane person does not do that. That's not a normal thing that happens. Yeah, just pro-police violence propaganda. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Like, she's doing her job correctly right now, as far as a police officer can do their job correctly.
Stupid.
Step over here now. Back off.
All she said was sit down. He goes,
And she gets physical. And here's the problem. She gets physical with no ability to back it up.
correct.
Yeah, but this is an abnormal situation.
Grappling endeavor. This is just a man ragdolling a woman because she's weaker than a man. She has no ability to defend herself. And now here comes in a pot-bellied man in flip-flops, and he's able to do the job that the highly trained professional cannot.
What?
And another man.
Wait, they have multiple cops at these things all the time. Like, the only time I ever see a takedown like this successfully happen is when there's like 2 or 3 cops there at least. Usually it's more like fucking 8 of the hogs. Like, I've seen men in so much worse physical condition than her try to do this shit. And usually they don't even try to do it. They just pull out their gun and fucking pop them. That's what happens. She was doing fine taking care of him. He's being physically violent. Like, he could easily do this to a man as well. The real problem here is societal discrimination against women. That's the real problem. He feels like he can do this to a female cop and not a male cop. If it were a male cop the same size and shape, there's no shot that he would have done it. Not a chance. He would have respected her way more. All right? Does she not have a taser? I really don't know. It seems like this is her first time dealing with this, right? There are plenty of male cops who get physically assaulted too. Yeah, I mean, this is a ridiculous thing to say. Most cops would have just shot him. You guys understand that, right? Like, maybe not because he's an old white dude, but a lot of cops just would have fucking shot him.
And a third man.
Shut up! You don't do that to a woman.
I mean, you don't do that to anybody, right? Like, that's just not an appropriate thing to do. Just don't do that to anybody.
Do you understand me?
Do you understand me, sir?
No, I don't. I don't understand you.
Chivalry cops.
Polite boys. What you want? It's just, what do you, like, the guy's going, what do you mean I don't do that to a woman? I do this to cops.
Yeah.
That was a terrible joke. That took like 3 seconds to sink in that he was doing that.
Is she a cop? I mistreat cops. I'm a criminal.
Yeah. By the way, taser.
Yeah, I really don't know what's funny about this, by the way. I have no clue.
The minute he gets out of his car and doesn't comply, I'm like, just tase him and then tase him again and maybe tase him again.
What he really wants to say is just shoot him.
I don't know. Have
Oh,
some
yeah.
fun with it. Like, see if he can break dance.
He's white. You could have shot him.
Yeah. Would have been fine.
And here's the problem is the more you remove tools, and by the way, the more you have these diversity hires, these equality hires in the police force, guess what? You're going to end up with more police brutality, police violence, because they have to go to their tool belt.
Right.
They have to go to their firearm. So let me give you an example here. The Police Academy fitness standards in Ohio. Well,
Yeah, they really
double
are just saying
standard.
it.
You have sit-ups, right? 1 minute. How many sit-ups can you do? For men?
Dog, you cannot. Listen, You cannot tell me that Big Chungus right here would be able to do fucking 30 push-ups, okay? No shot. No shot. And most of them look like this, by the way. Like, most of the cops that I've seen look just like this. There's no way. There's not a chance. Like, if that's your standard, 22 push-ups in 1 minute, if that's your standard and you want to make that a universal standard for everybody, I'm fine with that, okay? Honestly, the one point that I agree here on is that the standard, the physical standard, like the physical fitness standard, should be the same for both men and women. They should, because being a cop is a physical job, right? I feel the same way about firefighters. You should have a physical standard that is equal for both men and women and everyone else, right? I believe that. What I don't think is that this woman would perform more poorly than this man. And just because you are a woman does not mean that you will perform poorly on these tests. And just because you're a man does not mean that you will perform well.
You have to do 33 in 1 minute, which is not a lot.
No.
Women, 24.
What?
The push-ups test for a police officer in Ohio. A man has to do 22 in 1 minute, which is really not that much.
That's low.
Woman has to do 10. In other words, a police officer, the male officer, has to do twice as many. What do you think is going to happen when that woman...
Wait, one thing he did not point out, who are 29 and younger. Why is this a requirement? Now, hold on a minute. Why 29 and younger? I don't get it. Also, why pre-entrance requirements? Why aren't they required to redo this every year? I think, listen, as a nurse, I have to get my CPR license updated once every 1 or 2 years, depending on what kind of license I get. They should be required to do exactly the same thing in the police force. They should be required to update this. And if you cannot meet a minimum standard, you should not be out in the field, right? What I mean is, like, they just assume women will be worse and don't give them a chance to prove themselves. This is true.
Really not that much.
That's low.
Woman has to do 10. In other words, a police officer...
It's just interesting to me that he's questioning the whole male-female thing and not the age thing. Like, I see 50-year-old fucking fat-ass cops pull me over looking like they just got like all they eat is Big Macs, right? They're just like 90% Big Mac. And Big Mac McGee pulls me over, and I'm expected to believe that if I try to get him in an altercation, he's not just going to pull out his gun and shoot me, because that's all he can do physically, right? I do fat shame a little bit when it comes to physical jobs like being a cop, okay? I'm fine with doing that, because if you're a cop and you look like this, I'm sorry, the first thing you're going to fucking do is shoot somebody, because you can't chase them. You can't wrestle them down. So you're just going to fucking shoot them, because any dumbass with a gun can just kill somebody, right? So yeah, I'm going to be a little fat shaming when it comes to being a cop.
The male officer has to do twice as many. What do you think is going to happen when that woman runs into a man in the street? Well, you just saw what happened. And this also has happened in our military. Yeah. And by the way, hit the like button if you agree with this, is I don't think that we're less safe. I don't see how it's progress to send women out to the front lines when they are
Press 1 in the chat if you disagree.
Murdered in the name of equality. Usually we would have men go to war to protect the women and children. That's kind of why we go to... It's almost the most important resource.
Okay, I'm sorry. You have like 13-year-olds doing school shootings with M16s. Okay? I'm sorry. That's just how it is. So you cannot tell me that a woman is not capable of going to war. You just can't. It's impossible.
Is women and children.
Yeah.
That's our most important. That's how we populate the country. These are the people who make up. You're going to war not just for land, but to protect your citizens if it's a defensive war. Instead, we're sending out women and children, and we are sending them out.
Wait.
It's almost in the name of have men go to war to protect the women and children. That's kind of why we go to... It's almost the most important resource is women and children.
Yeah.
That's our most important. That's how we populate the country. These are the people.
This is so disgusting to me. That's literally the only reason that they see women as being important to protect in war, because they're the ones that, like, they're the baby makers, right? They're the baby ovens. It's great.
People who make up. You're going to war not just for land, but to protect your citizens if it's a defensive war. Instead, we're sending out women and children, and we are sending them out knowing that they are not prepared. Now, I am not saying that a woman can't work on dispatch. I'm not saying that a woman can't be a pilot. I'm not saying a woman can't be a sniper. I'm saying that a woman can't do that. Now, 2018.
Why not?
Let's look at this in the Army.
Dude, there are plenty of strong-ass women who could fucking headlock me, okay? Definitely not something that I fantasize about every night, but, they're out there.
Implemented a gender-neutral test, right? That happened. They said, okay, we're going to do a gender-neutral test now where everyone has to meet the same standards. And they lowered the standards. With that. Had to be scrapped because women couldn't pass it. So the gender-neutral test, 83 to 92%.
Averages? That's why I'm saying I advocate for the gender-neutral fitness test. I'm an advocate for that. I think all cops and all firefighters, etc., should be able to perform a minimum amount of physical fitness. That's regardless of age, sex, whatever. If you cannot perform a minimum amount of physical fitness tests, you're done. You're not in the field anymore. I think that should be a standard. There are some jobs, police officers being one of them, that just need that.
And passed compared to a maximum of 52% of women. The average was in the 40-something percentile.
Jeez. That's terrible.
Well, you say it's terrible, right? And fair enough, compared to the men it is, sure. But that's still half of the women passing. So this goes against your broader point, which is just to shit on women. Because half the women in the test would be out on the field, right?
40-something percentile.
Jeez. That's terrible.
I think Stephen would agree with that. No, Stephen and I do agree on the one point that there should be a gender-neutral test. Yes. But he's saying that he doesn't think women should be out there at all.
It should be an objective standard. Like, this is not one of those things where you're like, yeah, we just adjust the test to make sure everybody's included. And it also said it took into account age. No. If you're old, you don't get to go fight on the front line. I'm sorry. If you can't pass the test, you don't
Okay, so they did
qualify.
address it.
That's just how it is.
Do you think that woman at that moment in time thought, I've been screwed by the equality bullshit.
Yeah, probably.
I'm ill prepared.
Oh, this is not about my vagina, my opinion. This is going to hurt.
This is real.
Yeah. She
Yeah.
probably just thought, uh-oh.
Yes.
I mean, play this tape to the end. What
She probably thought, well, I'm getting assaulted right now, is what she thought.
happens if she's
Because regardless, listen, she's a hog, and a hog's a hog, right? But she was assaulted in that moment. In that moment, she was a woman being assaulted.
not on a
And that's not cool.
populated road where people thank you, citizens of Ohio, that stopped to help out a police officer.
Yes.
By the way, that's exactly what you should do. What if she's not around people, though? That probably ends very poorly. And guess what? We have another video of an officer being attacked, maybe even worse, on dash cam that makes the news.
Well, you see
That's
that
terrible.
this is violence, right? But you
Yeah.
know where else you see it? You see it with affirmative action in college. You see black people, black Americans.
Oh,
who are
of course,
put
we
into,
gotta go there.
Programs, for example, often in STEM fields, they can get lower grades, right? They can score.
Yeah, this is different because this is not a matter of fucking public safety, you dipshit. College is not a matter of public safety, okay? Yeah, he just had to be a little racist. We had to do a little bit of racism, as a treat.
lower on the SATs, and what happens is they fall back. They fall behind in class, and they're more likely to drop out of college. When you try and push, you can either have equal opportunity, or you can try to ensure equity of representation, equity in outcomes. You cannot have both.
Yeah, except there's no equality of opportunity in this country in regards to black people and white people when it comes to getting in college. There's no equality of opportunity there. Black people have huge disparities in all aspects because of historical racism. So there's no equality of opportunity, even if that's if that's really what he wants, he would push for more welfare programs. He would push for these black kids to do better in grade school. But no, he likes to talk about how their parents are like doing Hennessy farms or whatever the fuck bullshit racist thing that he makes up.
You're trying to engineer, right, equity, meaning equal representation.
Also, yeah, it's not like any of us can actually fucking see the test scores, right? Like the underlying assumption is always, oh, well, you see a black person in college, they probably got there through affirmative action, right?
In the police force, you will inevitably have to pull from a shallow talent pool, and you put them in danger. So let's look at the military again, the fitness standards, okay? For 22 to 26-year-olds, the standing power throw for men at 6.3 meters, because they scrapped the gender-neutral test. For women, it's 4 meters.
These meters?
The sprint drag carry. Men, they have to do it in 2 minutes and 31 seconds. For women, 3 minutes and 15 seconds. A 2-mile run. The men have 22 minutes. The women have 23 and 23 and a quarter.
Yeah, see, I disagree with what they're doing there in the military. They should all be equal. I agree. And also, what's with the fucking age scales? Again, no. You can either do the shit or you can't.
And 23 and a quarter.
Is
Now-
drag carry like the RuPaul drag race?
Yeah, they do it at the library store. Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to make
Just
sure
reading
I
a
had that
pop-out
right.
book.
Gotcha.
But think about this. Why? Hold on a second. None of this, the very premise of equality in male-dominated fields, it disrupts its own outcome. It's, well, we need equality. Okay, why? Because men and women are the same. Okay, but we want 40% longer and 40% lower standards, or 70% lower standards, depending on what it is for women to make it in. Why? Hold on a second. It's a male-dominated field. You said it was because of the patriarchy. Well, look, of course, women should be able to meet the same qualifications. Why? Because your life is in danger. And not only is your life in
The
danger.
problem is that even if they make the same qualification, he's still arguing that they should not be out on the field. Like his whole argument is that women should not be cops. It's called Women should not be cops. That's what it's called. So you can try to fall back on this. Well, I just think they should all have to, go by the same standards. That's not true. You're lying. You're talking out your ass right now because you just don't think women should be cops because you're sexist.
Danger. Guess who else?
Women shouldn't be cops, by the way. They shouldn't, but neither should anybody. They're not a sex thing. That's just, there's just this is an ACAB thing in general.
Is in danger.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be a cop.
People
it's cringe.
in your platoon.
Yeah.
Guess who else is in your citizens? Are the people safer in that city?
I mean, they're safe. They're not safer, but that's not because she's a woman. That's because she's a cop.
House of cards has to come tumbling down. And the only way that it works is if everything we do, it needs to be performance-based. We need to eliminate race. We need to eliminate gender. We need to eliminate sexual orientation. Sorry, sex, gender, however you identify. None of that should play a role in combat positions, in police positions, in positions that require any level of physical strength. They shouldn't, because it makes everyone else less safe.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
And yet, I'll bet he still thinks that we should keep athletics separated, right? I'm just saying, he probably thinks that we should keep women and men separate in sports, right? But hey, I mean, listen, I'm a consistent guy. So like, I think that we should just break the gender barrier for all of it, personally. But Steven Crowder probably doesn't feel that way. But yeah, I mean, this is just pure sexism, right? It's just pure sexism. Nothing else to it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching once again. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell if you want to be notified whenever I upload. What do you guys think? Should women be cops? I don't think that they should, personally, because I've already said this. I don't think anybody should be a cop. But yeah, leave a comment and let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much again for watching my video, and I hope to see you in the next one.